Okay, in this video, I'm going to talk about the activity that I would do to introduce the positional values and place values for base 4 specifically, and actually introduce and have the kids start experimenting with, without actually explicitly saying so, translating base 4 values into base 10. They will be doing that, but they won't have a name for that yet. So the name of the activity is the Base River Ferry Company. And the idea is that this company has certain size ferries and fleet loads, and that there are specific rules that the company has put into place to ensure that they are abiding by, that they are using the maximum potential of each, including the fleet load, the ferry load, that each ferry can hold up to 4 cars. So if you look at each ferry, this would be 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars. The second rule, too, is that each car holds exactly passengers and is only brought onto the ferry if 4 passengers, which means, so each one of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, is a passenger that fits in the car. 3 people may ride the ferry standing without being in a car. There comes, though, that person and the 3 others must sit in that car. Only up to 3 standing individuals without a car is permitted. Number 5 says passengers are not allowed to stand in the ferry, which contains 4 cars. 6, a ferry must be 4 passengers may board the next one. 7, a ferry may cross full load if no one is waiting. So once we go size of these units, so each unit cube represents 1 person. So that means that 4 people can fit in a car. A total of 16 people, of 4 by 4, 4 cars with 4 people in each. And then if there's enough people, we will have a fleet load, which is basically ferry loads, which means that 64 people can fit into a fleet load. This is the size. This original, if you go 4 back, 1, 2, 3, 4, it should be 4 ferry loads. So meaning there would be 64 people that could fit in a fleet. So once we go over the meaning of these different units, I will invite the kids to take a look at the Base River Ferry Company's system for keeping count of how many people use the ferry system daily. So basically what they do is their system is to write numbers in a special order as shown below. So what they would do is write the number of fleet crossings in this position, in this position, the number of cars on a ferry in this position, and the number of people in this position. Remember, that will always be 3 or under. So after we talk about their system, I will show them, will record from the Base River Ferry Company from one of the days, which is 1, 3, 2, which looks like this. 1, 3, 2, 3. This is exactly what it means using that positional system. And when we think about that, the 1 position, okay, that means the number of fleet crossings. So that means there's only 1 fleet load, which looks like this. Okay. The 3 means if it's in this position, it is the number of ferry load in that day. So there was actually 3 ferry load crossings in that. And that means there was 2 cars that also crossed that day. Okay. And finally, the 3 in this position equates to this chart as the number of people standing, which are 3 extra standing people. Okay, so if we were to go through, that's what it means. And now we would actually, how many people actually visit Base Ferry Company that day? If 1 fleet load, ferry loads, 2, oops, so slow, sorry, 2 cars and 3 standing people visited. Now, informally, and would be encouraged to simply count the units in this entire situation. So they could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then, so this would be 3, sorry, this is just keep track of their work. So we have 16, sorry, yeah, 4 by 4. So what we were doing was, sorry, before my computer got annoyed, we were counting how many people were units, including the standing people, the cars, the ferry fleet loads. So we know that ferry loads, so this was, each one of these was 16, and 3 times 16 in addition to 4. And if we added all that up, let's see, 48 plus 11 plus 64 would be the total amount of people that visited that day. So let's see, 13. So according to the Bass River Ferry Company, 123 people visited that day and were escorted in 1 fleet load, 3 ferry loads, 2 cars, and then 3 people did not take any of those and they were just standing up. So the kids are actually, what they're doing here is they can experiment with the blocks and actually count on the blocks themselves, or use this original image that said the value of each, 64, 16, 4, and 1, in order to decide how many are, how many people visited that day. And so actually what we're actually doing is we're making this equivalency 1323. Oops, sorry. 1323 in base 4 is equal to 123 in base 10 then. And the kids don't know that they're translating yet, but in effect they are. After that, I would give them a week to experiment with how many visitors came on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then for those fast finishers, they could find the total visitors by adding up all of the base 10 equivalencies at the very end. This is purely investigative, and the kids are not told that they're translating yet. They're just doing this activity, and hopefully when it is explicitly introduced, they can connect back to this activity and experience more success because of it. All right, so I'm going to end there. Thank you so much for listening.